This will explain the silver markets right here, right? Go that way, to go this way, to go that way, to go this way. You try to chase the freaking red dot, and what happens? What happens? You can never chase it, right? What happens? You go in circles, don't you? You go in circles. This is the silver market right here. This is the silver market. Go silver market. All right? Cat, you've been diagnosed with red dot compulsive disorder, so we're going to have to give you some more cat food. Anyway. And you too, you got another type of disorder. We got red dot disorder. It's a psychological disorder. That's like silver compulsive obsessive disorder. So, you know, you just go around in a circle all the time. You're chasing the red dot. The same thing with the silver coin, right? What's going on with the price? What's going on with the price? I don't know. It's going in a circle, right? Maybe it's going up. Maybe it's going down. I don't know. Who's going on, right? I have a silver obsessive compulsive disorder. Yeah, I think a lot of people who watch this channel do. Anyway, you know, I just showed you the cat chasing the red dot. That's kind of like the silver investor today. You just got to hold on, man. It's like you can't be chasing price. It's like the red dot. Who controls the red dot? Wall Street. Goldman Sachs. Anyway, you can't look at the price. You got to make sure you just hot the metal, right? Make sure you got the kitty food buried, you know. That's the kind of thing. The dog buries the bone, whatever. The cat chases the red dot, whatever. I don't know if that's a good analogy, but chasing that red dot is almost like when people are looking at the price too much, right? Now, I want to point out a couple things today about, I don't know, some more tidbits, because I try to read a lot, and maybe I could sum it up very quickly for you. Anyway, it looks like there's a lot of investors moving into the bond market, which is very interesting because the bond market isn't paying any interest, right? So why are they doing that? I guess it's the age-old thing, safety. Safety. Because maybe the equities markets aren't looking so freaking good for the future. I mean, if you look back, hindsight is 20/20. Yeah, oh boy, it'd have been great if you bought the equities at the bottom back several years ago, but you know, hindsight is 20/20. Going off into the future, it looks like the PE ratios and like I said, even per the mainstream people have been over the last 6 months, have been stating that the returns outlook for corporate equities, corporate bonds is just looking bad. You know, so they're going into just treasuries, even though the rate of return is bad, but it's more or less, that means you're going to hold your gains. So, you know, there's a lot of things going on here. But, you know, I just have to point out, you know, global tensions will bring up the price of the commodities. I got to say that again. You know, it's interesting. There's another thing that went on here in China recently, too. It looks like they got an oil rig they put outside offshore from Vietnam, and the Vietnamese are very pissed off, and they were rioting, and they were doing some damage to Chinese factories. Actually, they mistakenly took some Taiwanese factories for Chinese, but you know, they're doing damage to the gates and fires and all this type of stuff. They don't want China around in their area and setting up any kind of airfields or doing any kind of oil drilling off in the waters off their coast. And also, it looks like the USA is back together with the Philippines. They're down in Subic Bay, and they're doing joint military maneuvers over the issue with the Spratly Islands, over the oil in the Spratly Islands, which is, in my opinion, is clearly in the Filipino realm. I know there's several countries that are claiming it, but it looks like it's clearly, if you look at the map where the Spratly coral reefs are, or whatever, maybe they're not exactly islands, but it's they look pretty solidly in the Filipino area. So the Chinese are going in there because they want the oil. So anyway, you know, I tell you the truth, you know, if they got really smart, I don't, you know, this is, you never know this. I could just throw this out here for food for thought, because I'm going to go off on this tangent real quick. You know, like in Iraq, after they had the Iraq War, they used to say, you know, how come the American companies didn't benefit as much after, the military spent all that money on the Iraq war. They thought, because actually, who's in the Iraq with the oil development more than anything? Chinese. The Chinese. Which kind of tells me all the elite in the world are kind of working together, despite what you see on the outside so much. And it may be that, that might be the same deal with Iran. If there's a conflict with Iran, the Chinese might move in and, I think it's like a backdoor agreement they do. I'm just kind of guessing at this a little bit, but it didn't make a lot of sense why, the American taxpayer picked up the war and all the people did all the efforts, the American servicemen and women, they did all the efforts to fight the war with Iraq, that the Chinese companies would benefit the most from it. But that kind of tells me that there's other things going on behind the scenes. That might be the same way with Iran. So you might be thinking, oh, there's going to be protests from China and Iran. I don't think so. If there actually was a war with Iran, it would probably be the Chinese are going to benefit from it ultimately by having their companies move in. And the Russians would benefit by the price movement going up a lot. So anyway, I think that's actually what's going to really bring the metals up the most, is if there's going to be a major conflict. Chasing the price every day is going to be pretty damn impossible. And even when the price starts moving up a lot, you know what they're going to do? They're going to raise margin requirements. They're going to keep slamming it down. So you don't want to be playing the markets. You just want to be holding real assets. And if you got paper assets, I got some paper assets, I'm going to dump them eventually and just take good old U.S. greenbacks and the hell with the whole deal. Because, I'll dump those first before I ever even sell any silver, physical silver. Because when I see gains in the electronic markets on the commodities, they're going goodbye. And I'll take U.S. greenbacks because I do realize that U.S. greenbacks are going to be the money that we use here in the United States, even though the U.S. dollar may not be, I think it's almost slated not to be, it's not going to be the world reserve currency for the distant future. It's going to go away as that. But as far as the actual money we use for exchange of goods and services in the United States of America, the U.S. dollar is going to be around for a long time. I'll just say that, these guys are all talking about it's going to collapse. There might be a restructuring of debt. There might be a world government body that's going to bail out the United States and actually take over our national sovereignty in some ways by doing that. That's probably what they got planned. Jerks. Anyway, I don't like it, but that's probably what they're doing. And I should also state this with Ukraine. I hope they remain as a free and independent nation and strong and don't become divided, and they neither become under the influence of the European Union or Russia. Neither one, and they don't fall apart and get balkanized and broken up in all these sections so they can be easily controlled by the big powers that be, which is the game that's going on with them too, right? Isn't that what's going on? But anyway, just you got to remember, with you people out there with, like I have it too, it's called compulsive obsessive disorder or whatever you want to call it. They'll have a thing for that or something, right? But anyway, it's it's like if you're looking at the price movement of these metals, it's like chasing a red dot, man. You don't know which way it's going, and somebody in Wall Street is moving that red dot around. It's like you're that cat and you're just going in circles, right? So I'll show that to you again anyway. But that's exactly what they're doing, man. It's like they make money on the way up, they make money on the way down, right? So, but the game is going to be up for them eventually, because, like I always put it to, anybody out there in common sense terms, the real useless eaters are a lot of the people in the financial world, because they're not actually contributing to some productivity that people really need. And that's really, therein lies the problem, right? Therein lies the problem, because they're just taking off a slight percentage off the top, and that's how. And actually, if you look at, not just the 1%, but the 1 basis point, the 1% of the 1%,
by and large, they're mostly connected to the banking and financial sector, which tells you it's a rigged casino. But I also have to put it to you this way and remind people again. The casino is rigged in Russia. The casino is rigged in China. The elite got games going on. There's different various camps of elite. And they got games going on all over the world. It's not like the grass is greener on the other side of the world. No way. No way in hell. Actually, the wealth disparity in Russia is at least, at a very, very minimum, way over hundreds of times more skewed than in the United States. It's that freaking screwed up. So, I mean, you gotta watch when people are hoping that, Putin takes over or something. I don't know what the hell people are asking for when they, to get on that guy's side, but they have to realize what they're asking for. They're asking for a situation that's even much, 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 much worse. But anyway, if you got the balls to freaking be independent and you work hard, you're going to be fine, and you stick with the real. And, don't go chasing red dots. Keep your silver and keep it solid, keep it safe, and keep it, secure. When people are always chasing the price of something like that, those are like traders. Those are giddy minds, and it's just not going to work out. You got to stay with real assets all the way, in old school all the way. So, just want to leave you with that. So, if you got silver compulsive disorder, the actual remedy for that is the actual hard physical coins, not chasing the price. Not chasing the price. Just remember that.
And you too, you got another type of disorder. We got red dot disorder. It's a psychological disorder. That's like Compulsive Obsessive disorder. So, you just go around in a circle all the time. You're chasing the red dot. The same thing with the silver coin, right? What's going on with the price? What's going on with the price? I don't know. It's going in a circle, right? Maybe it's going up. Maybe it's going down. I don't know. What's going on, right?